Hey guys, it's Jenny with Art for Good. Today we're going to do a small 8x10 pastel themed piece, and I'm improvising a little bit in using a cup instead of my usual cake pan pour because it's such a small canvas. So I really wanted to focus on creating a landscape painting that was an ocean theme piece, but also used beautiful pastel colors and had a lot of great movement with a focus on the sun in the upper right corner. So far I am using a cup that I've cut the top off and just poured titanium white inside. And then I am layering a Naples yellow and white in just a spiral pattern. I also had a blue color that I had mixed up from a previous painting. It's a little bit of a dusty blue or a French blue that I have created by custom mixing, and I can put those details in the description below for you to reference later. I really love using either a cup or a cake pan to create a barrier to protect negative space in paintings I've been doing recently. If you want to see some other ideas for ways that you can do this, I will put a link here to a playlist that I have of all of my cake pan pours. All right, so I'm just taking my hairdryer and going in a circular motion while holding the cup down to blow this painting out. And as you can see, it creates some really beautiful movement in the paint that goes around and around what is going to be the sun once I remove this cup. I like using the contrast of blue and yellow because it almost makes it look like the ocean is going to be blending in with the sky. It also kind of has a golden hour look in that the sky is yellow and the clouds are turning kind of a dark blue color. Here I have a dark blue that I have mixed up that I'm going to use for the first piece of the ocean. So I used a phalo blue that I put a tiny bit of ivory black into just to kind of make it a little bit darker. I'm going to do the swipe technique on my ocean here. If you're not familiar with the swipe technique, you can really use anything. I'm going to use a palette knife today. You could use a paper towel. You can use a transparency, which that gets really great results. You can even use a piece of plastic wrap. Each of those produces a slightly different effect, but essentially you're just moving the paint over each other to create cells. So this is one of the easiest ways to create cells in acrylic paint pouring. So I've also layered in some aqua blue and a light purple color. And then I'm just drizzling with my titanium white, which is going to serve as sort of a cell activator. So the key with the swipe is after every swipe, go ahead and wipe off your palette knife with a paper towel. That just helps the colors not get too muddied. If you start swiping, they're gonna start blending together really well, and then you won't be able to really see the differentiation between the colors anymore. I'm gonna give it a torch. I'm just using a basic kitchen torch here, similar to what you'd use to make creme brulee. That just helps the cells come out. It also pops any bubbles so that the finish of the painting is pretty even. Now I'm gonna go in with my light pink and I'm going to sort of make the wave arch upward towards the sun. And I'm gonna be working with my colors from lightest to darkest, so from the right-hand side to the left. So the left side will be fully dark, or at least my darkest shade of colors. I'm putting in some yellow here. I'm adding in this dark blue. I'm adding in more of that dusty blue color as well as my aqua. And then I'm going to put a row of white closest to the top of the wave. This just mimics sort of how waves are in nature, in that the white spray, sea spray, is usually on the top of the wave and closest to where the sky is. I decided to put a little bit of dark over those light colors just because I wanted a little bit of contrast there. I love just playing around with different compositions, and this is one of those times in that this is not a piece that I did for any particular reason. I was just playing around in my art studio, and maybe a little bit of me was wishing that it was spring already in my choice of color palette, but this will have to do for now because I think we still have a ways to go before spring actually happens. There's just a little spot that I missed here, so I'm just going to make sure every piece of this is covered with paint. Another torch on this side. All right, now I'm going to go in with a straw and sort of blow out the white parts, just so that it looks a little more splashing, so to speak. So I'm just going in with my straw, gently blowing along all the far outer side of this wave. I'm also going to do the same thing over on the back part of the wave, just so it looks a little bit more natural, like water. I'm also just making some interesting details and splashing in the wave itself. All right, a final torch. Now I'm just making sure all of the corners are covered. It's much easier to do this while you still have paint drippings on your table than it is to try to go back and match exact colors. Sometimes I run out of colors, and it's just easier for me to take a few minutes at the end of each piece and make sure all of the corners are covered while the paint is all wet. Speaking of paint drippings, if you didn't know, you can actually save the paint skins, they call them, which is the dried paint that from your table after you're done with a paint pour. After a few days and it's fully dry, you can just peel it off, and it's almost like, a piece of plastic all together. And you can use that to create all kinds of wonderful things. I've used it to create collages on some of my paintings. I have also, the most popular things to do with it is to create jewelry. So I have a video here where you can learn how to do that in a pretty easy way. And then I'm just removing the cup, and there's our final piece. Well, that's all the time I have for today. I'll see you next time.